Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and my space. For those of you who are new, my name is Racquel, and those of you who are returning, thank you so much for clicking on another one of my videos. This story, oh my god, I have been wanting to talk about this story, this myth, this legend for a very long time now on YouTube. This is was one of my favorite legends growing up, mainly because my mom used to scare me with it. But it is one of my favorite things to tell. One of my favorite little things to investigate, and it was what got me into investigating the paranormal. So we are going to talk about that, but first I do want to apologize for the lighting in here. My ring light broke, and I am not in my normal studio, my normal office, because my kids took that over for schooling. So, also, the last 2 weeks of April, I will be taking off. I want to make a ton of new content for May, my tarots, and of course, my Spooky Story Sundays, and my Spirit Speaks, and my astrology videos. So I want to take those 2 weeks to really, record them all and pre-schedule them and have them up. So then that way, if I should fall behind later on in the future, I'm already caught up. So, this is basically like me doing a contingency plan, hopefully. Although sometimes I did lose 3 of my astrological videos that I had pre-recorded, but we shall see how that goes. By the way, I reached 2K subscribers. Thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed to my channel and supports my channel. I greatly appreciate you all, and I just love this little family that we're building here. Also, because I reached 2K, I have a video that, it's a contest video, and I will be going over what you can win, how to enter, how long you have, and how I'm going to announce the winners. If you would like, go ahead in the description box below this video. I have a link to take you over to the 2K video if you would like to hop on that opportunity to win some free readings from me. And also, you have until May 5th to enter. Okay. So with all that being said, let's get into this story. Okay, well, it's really not a story. It's like an ongoing, it's like a series of stories. Hold on, my legs are going numb. Oh. It's a series of stories. So, the Jersey Devil. I was born in Burlington County, New Jersey. And this is where this creature heralds from. Okay, this is the birthplace of it. The Pine Barrens of New Jersey. And the Pine Barrens, if you don't know what the Pine Barrens of New Jersey are, it is a long stretch of pine forest before you hit the East Coast, the beach in New Jersey. And these forests are an enigma of their own. People have been hearing screams. They hear their names called. That almost makes me think of a different mythical creature. I will get into that towards the end of this video because there are other things that I think that this thing possibly could be. There are many theories on that. I have many theories. And I am interested to know your own theories or your own experiences if you've been to the New Jersey Pine Barrens or have grown up or lived in or visited the New Jersey area. If you've had a encounter with this creature or something weird happen, please let me know in the comment section below your encounters, or if I tell something or I forgot to tell something in this video, please let me know. I did some research on this. I did a school project on it when I was going for my GED and I had to write an essay. So I did a lot of research about it. I've always done research about it. I've heard legends and I've heard stories about it because, like I said, I was born in New Jersey, and I did go back and live there for like a year or two. So, um, but let's get on with this, okay? So, the other mythical creatures that, this monster has been linked to, we've got the Mothman of West Virginia. We've got the Snallywagger of, I think it's called Snallywagger of Maryland. There is also some people have heard of maybe Skinwalker or Wendigo. There's also that avenue to travel, but we are traveling on the avenue that this is one solid creature, the Jersey Devil. So what it essentially looks like is a beast that has a kangaroo body, T-Rex-like claws, pig feet, a head of either a horse or a goat, because there are different sightings now with this. And then either bat-like wings or dragon-like wings, depending on who has seen it. It has bright red eyes, kind of like the Mothman. The Mothman had bright red eyes too, so this is where, some people might think they're one and of the same. All right, so the history of the land of the Pine Barrens there in Burlington County, it was, started around the early 1600s, like 1620s, and it was mainly Quakers. Now, Quakers were very religious, highly religious, and they were the ones that essentially founded that land. Enter Mrs. Leeds. Now, Mrs. Leeds' husband, Daniel, was a occultist, a demonologist, a angelicist or something like that, study of angels, cosmology, study of the cosmos, astrology, and he created something called the Leeds Almanac. Now, this almanac, it had to do with astrology and the occult and paganism, and that didn't go over very good with the Quakers. So a lot of the Quakers called Mrs. Leeds a witch. She had 12 children that were said to be unruly, and their family was basically the pariah of the Quaker community there. Now, I'm not quite sure. I might have to do a little bit more research on this, so quote me if I'm wrong, but I feel like this came after the Salem witch trials. I don't know if they went like hand to hand, or maybe New Jersey had different laws where you didn't burn witches or something like that. I don't know, but he was never tried and burned as a witch, obviously. But they were ousted from the community. They were pariahs to the community because they had pagan and esoteric beliefs. They probably were. I mean, they seemed pretty cool to me. All right. So there are two theories on how the New Jersey Devil started, and it all starts around this family. Now, Mrs. Leeds, like I said, she had 12 children that were unruly. Well, she got pregnant with her 13th child. Now, she did not want this 13th child. She cursed it, said that it was the devil's child, that it would be the child of the devil. And essentially, one night, it was storming, and she was at home. She had her midwife there, and I think a couple of other family members, her husband, and she gave birth to this creature. Now, this creature came out looking much like the description of what people nowadays see, but just a smaller version of it. Some people say it was exactly like that. Some people say it was a baby, but then it transformed into that. Upon when she gave birth to it and she cursed it, it transformed. There are many, many different, it's like the game of telephone. You don't know which way to go, which way to believe. That's why it is a myth and a legend. So the baby came out, started screaming, crying, and just going like berserk. But these were inhuman screams. The child was said to have the baby was said to have red glowing eyes and screamed like something not of this world. And it was flying around and got like all crazed and slashed the midwife's throat and then flew up the chimney. And left. There are other versions where they say they went out and they grabbed it and then they brought it back to the cottage and it lived in the attic for the rest of its years until it escaped one night and it went off into the wild. Now there were two different theories within this one theory about it, leaving right after birth or them capturing it and then taking it up to the attic. So that's one theory. Now the other theory is, and this is the one that I find more solid, I guess, because there is like documentation around it. So, back in like the late 1600s, early 1700s, Daniel Leeds had a couple of wives who had a couple of different children. Like, I guess he like married a couple of times because one wife died during childbirth and the child died too. And then the next wife, she gave him like 3 kids and then she died. And I think like the next wife gave him a little bit more. I'm not exactly fully, like, because I see contradicting articles about this all over the place. So if you know, let me know in the comment section below. But Daniel Leeds was a paganist. He was paganism. And much like, the first story, he was ostracized. He was known as the devil because he did the devil's work, because he wrote an almanac based around astrology, based around, paganism and the occult. So, he was given this title. Now, he was a council member. He was one of like the founding council members of that county, and his last name Leeds is an actual city in the Pine Barrens. It's Leeds Point. Now, around the time that Daniel Leeds died, his son, Titan Leeds, took over his father's almanac and, his business, trying to sell this almanac and stuff. Benjamin Franklin at the time was up and coming with the printing press, and he had his own almanac along with astrological positions and stuff. And Benjamin Franklin predicted that Titan would die on October 17th in 1732. Well, when this didn't happen, because of the feud they had between their two almanacs, Benjamin Franklin said that he did in fact die, Titan did in fact die, but he came back as the devil reincarnated. So this is where another myth around the Jersey Devil is said to have been taken place. Titan did, in fact, die in the year 1738, though. So that was like 6 years after Benjamin Franklin's prediction. But anyways, so those are the theories within the theories of the two theories around the Jersey Devil. Now, sightings. Didn't know if you all knew this, but Napoleon Bonaparte's brother, Joseph Bonaparte, moved to Bordentown, New Jersey in 1812 or 1813. I know in 1813, it was during the winter time, he went out on a hunt for, I'm guessing deer or whatever, close to dusk or early morning, like hunters do, as hunters do. But he goes out there and he notices these strange tracks, these strange hooven tracks in the snow. So he's following these hooven tracks, and all of a sudden he is met with the Jersey Devil, and he describes exactly how witnesses have always described it. The small body of a kangaroo, the T-Rex arms, the cloven pig's feet, the head of a horse, the bat-like wings, and the red glowing eyes. And he saw this, he took a couple shots at it, and I guess he missed, and the thing flew off. But, and I could be wrong, I got that from one article. I did not look up many different articles on this story for Joseph Bonaparte. But, so if you heard it told a different way, please let me know in the comment section below. Now, after that, 1909 comes around. Now, this is the part in history where, you know how we are having that stay-at-home thing right now going on with us, and we can't leave our homes. A lot of jobs are closed down, schools are closed down, factories are closed. Well, not food factories, hopefully. But, you know, you get the gist. A lot of non-essential jobs are closed down and kids are home. They're not at school. That's what we're going through right now, right? Well, back in 1909, the state of New Jersey went through that. Why? Because of sightings of the Jersey Devil. So, sit back. This one's a good one. Okay. So, from January 16th to January 23rd of 1909, New Jersey shut down, and I think Philadelphia shut down as well. I'm not too sure. If you guys know, let me know in the comment section below. There was a $10,000 reward offered from the Philadelphia Zoo for capture of the New Jersey Devil, captured alive, so that they could put it in the Philadelphia Zoo. They were offering 10 grand. And if you think about it, 10 grand back in 1909 was a substantial amount of money. So there were feuds between the people that wanted to see it dead and the people that wanted to collect on the reward money for handing it over alive. So there were feuds about that going on. But what started this whole panic was that I think it was 3 boys were out in the woods, and they came across it. They heard the screams, they saw the creature, and they ran. And I think, I'm not entirely sure, I could be quoting it wrong, but one of the boys got lost and was never seen again. But when it was reported, you know, then there was other sightings too that was going on at the time. It attacked a trolley car full of people in Haddon Heights. It also attacked another trolley car, because apparently it likes trolley cars. It likes moving objects, you know. It attacked another trolley car in Burlington. In Camden, there was a late night social meeting going on, and the creature was seen on top of the roof, seen outside the windows. People saw the red eyes, so this was also reported. There was bunch of farmers back in the day that reported their cattle mutilated, pigs having the backs of their heads torn off, essentially. So, and this all happened within January 16th to the 23rd. All these sightings and all these events of this creature. So people were panicked. People were scared. So the government shut everything down. No school, no factory, you know, just the essential jobs basically, and the police and fire, right? And they would go out in crews to hunt this thing down. Some of them, like I said, wanted it dead. Some of them wanted to collect on the reward money. Eventually, it just went away and it fizzled out. Nobody ended up killing it. Nobody ended up, selling it for $10,000 to the Philadelphia Zoo. The attacks stopped. And they remained stopped for about 13 years. It was about 13 years that nobody had seen or heard from this creature. In 1924, a cab driver in Salem was on his way home, and he got a flat tire. So he pulled off to the side of the road to change his flat tire, and he saw the shadow go above him, and it freaked him out. And he just got his tire changed. He hopped back in the car. And then he goes along his merry little way, driving down the road. And all of a sudden, he heard and felt the thing jump onto the roof of his car, and it was clawing at and stomping on the roof of his car. He swerved and drove, and eventually the thing left, I think. I can't remember the story entirely because, like I said, this is also coming from a part where I had researched it a while back when I was doing my GED stuff, like a while ago. So this is what I remember from that story. Then, in 1972, a college student was driving from Blackwood to Glassboro down Gumtree Road. He was just driving along, minding his merry own business at night. He was not drunk. He was completely sober. He looked in his rearview mirror and saw the creature standing in the middle of the road, walking and just staring at him, glaring at him. There was another sighting in 1980. A forest ranger, Alan McFarlane, he did not see the creature. I don't think he actually saw the creature, but he was called out to a farm where pigs had the backs of their heads eaten. Yes, I took notes. In 1980, a bunch of four-wheelers or bikers, like dirt bikers, were out in the Pine Barrens just having a good time camping. All of a sudden, their dirt bikes stalled out and they wouldn't stop. All of their dirt bikes stalled out and would not start again. And then they described what they heard of as screams coming from the woods. Now, for me personally, I'm going to go into my experience or, what I experienced in the Pine Barrens. And I have a theory what these screams were. I do not think this is Jersey Devil based. I don't think they had a run-in with the Jersey Devil simply because their bikes stalled out. Because if you think about it, back in the other sightings, it attacked trolley cars. The trolley cars didn't stall out. It attacked that cab driver's car. That cab driver car didn't stall out. And that other guy that saw him in 1972 in his rearview mirror, his car didn't stall out. So, I think that this thing that the boys encountered was something totally different, and I feel like it's something that I may have encountered in the Pine Barrens that is totally different from the Jersey Devil. But moving on, I'm not saying that it wasn't the New Jersey Devil, but I'm not saying that it was. I'm not really convinced that it was. I feel like it's a different supernatural creature. In 1993, John Irwin was driving out to inspect I don't know how to pronounce this, the Mulissa River. And as he was driving down the road, something came down in the middle of the road and stood up in the middle of the road. He stopped his car. And he said, now this is a wildlife expert, okay? He said he stopped his car and he looked at it. And the thing looked back at him with bright red eyes. He described the same thing that the other sightings of the Jersey Devil had described about how he looked. And he said that there is no way that was a bear. And this is a wildlife expert. And he was saying that there was no way that it was a bear. He knows what a bear is, especially he knows what a bear looks like at night. And he said this was not that. There is the owner of the next sighting, the owner at the Smithfield Inn. Her name is Fran Copa. She was emptying trash one night and she saw the shadow of wings flying over her, and she got that creeped out feeling. And she saw the eyes out of the corner of her eye. She saw the red glowing eyes. She said that it was more comforting to her. She also said that she's seen it on the roof too, I believe. In one article, it says that she's seen it on the roof and the glowing red eyes. And she found it more of like a comforting presence, like it was there to protect her business, her Smithfield Inn. Which is, there are some people out there that say they've had encounters with this creature and they don't feel fear. They feel oddly comforted. I don't know. For some reason, I've always loved the story of the Jersey Devil. I don't know if I feel comforted by it, but I know that it intrigues me. A descendant of the Leeds also saw glowing red eyes, saw his ancestor on the roof of his house. His name was Harry Leeds. Now, this is an ancestor of the Leeds, so it would be an ancestor of the Jersey Devil, right? Apparently, he made himself known to Harry Leeds. And Harry Leeds is recent. Maryland. Okay, so this goes right back in. Okay, so like I said, there we have the Maryland snallygaster. I might actually do a video on that like later on in the future. I feel like the Mothman of West Virginia has been too highly covered, and there's so much information out there about this, about the Mothman, so it's like I really don't want to have to recover something that's already been covered. I know there are when I YouTubed the Jersey Devil, I was shocked that there wasn't more on it. I mean, there are some channels that give some, like reports and stuff like that, but it's not like really widely talked about on YouTube. So I was like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. Jersey Devil. But I have a high suspicion that the Maryland snallygaster and the Mothman of West Virginia and the Jersey Devil are one and the same. Or maybe, just maybe, because now we're going to get into my theory on it. I feel like it might be. Now, I do believe that we have different dimensions coexisting with our own dimension here on the planet Earth. And I feel like maybe at certain times or certain years, there's little ripple effects or like a little doorway into the other dimension, and these things can come through. So maybe they are of the same family, or maybe they are of, maybe it's an ancient animal, a group of ancient animals that maybe aren't even from a different dimension. Maybe they've always lived in the Appalachian Mountains and the Pine Barrens, and we are just now as humans spotting them every once in a while, but they mainly hide from human sight. I mean, we discover new species on this earth every day, all day. Well, not every day, but a lot of times we discover new species all the time. So it could very well be an animal that is a new species, maybe something that has been left over from the Jurassic time that has survived this whole time. And that is, the snallygaster and the Mothman, maybe they are all related. Maybe they are all from like one pack. You know what I mean? That's another theory of mine. Also, the last theory is that it could be exactly what it is. The Jersey Devil. It could be like a spirit or an entity of some type that has been around for a long time. And, when the Quakers came, maybe, the Quakers upset him. Maybe they moved in on his land. It could be some Native American spirit or entity that is inhabiting this. Now, my other theory, okay, so let's get into my scary experiences in the Pine Barrens. Now, there were a couple of times when I was a teenager, when I was 17, 18, 19, I would go out to the Pine Barrens with friends. Maybe not, no, it was 17 and 18. I would go out into the Pine Barrens and hang out in the Pine Barrens because I love 16, 17, 18. Sorry, I'm old. I had to think back. But I would go out there often because it was fun to hike out there. It's beautiful country. Kids go out in cars there to do, you know what I mean. Sexy time. Stuff like that, okay? Camping and stuff like that too as well. So I've gone out there a couple of times, and I can definitely say that out of the handful of times I've been out there, there were 2 instances that did make me freak out. One instance, I was in a car with one of my friends, and we were, smoking the magic herb, and smoking a bit of pot, not gonna lie, and I heard definite inhuman screams. And when I heard them, I said, we gotta go now, let's wrap this shit up, let's go. Because back then, I was aware of the New Jersey Devil, and I was aware of, a lot of witnesses report the screams, but his car did start too, so it did start. But there is this theory of a skinwalker, of this thing called a skinwalker, and it lets out screams. All right. And it does call you by name, or it can call you by name and mimic voices. So I was under the impression that it was either the devil, the New Jersey Devil, or a skinwalker. Not saying that the skinwalkers actually exist. I don't know. I have my own theories about that, so I don't want to go too far into that because I am a little bit Native American, and I do believe in some of the Native American lore that Native Americans have. So I will probably do that in another video, probably one of my spirit videos, I don't know. Let me know if you want me to research skinwalkers or scary stories about skinwalkers. So that is one of my accounts. I'm kind of on the fence. Was it a Jersey Devil, or was it the Jersey Devil, the actual Jersey Devil, or was it a skinwalker? I don't know. Makes me sound a little crazy. But then there was another time that I was out in the woods, and this was after I heard the screams, after we had been hanging out, having fun. This was a couple weeks later, and I went out to around about the same spot, and I was with a couple of friends, and this is before we even started, doing anything that, teenagers like to do out in the woods, before we started doing anything. We had just arrived there, and I went to go find some firewood for we all spread out to find firewood, and I heard my name being called by one of my friends, and I was walking towards it, but then I heard the friend over in the other opposite direction, and I knew that the thing that was calling me right there wasn't the thing, because the camp was back that way, and he was calling me from the camp, but this person was that was at the camp, his voice was also calling me from the woods. So that I feel like that was a Wendigo or Skinwalker or something like that. I don't think that was the Jersey Devil, because I don't think in all of the cases it's like the Jersey Devil doesn't speak. It doesn't speak English. It has this unworldly, other earthy, unworldly scream. That's how it communicates. It's got this, that's just so far out of this world, something scream you never would have heard. Bone chilling, blood curdling. So, in conclusion, stay out of the Pine Barrens, kids. No. I'm just saying. They are a fun place to be, but yeah, I would love to go back there. I am curious to what you guys think. what you guys think this is. I gave you a ton of information, and I didn't even touch the surface of the information that the New Jersey Devil has. There are so many articles, so many books written about this thing. I think there's only one movie though, and it's not widely talked about, but it is a sports team. It impacted New Jersey so much that they made the New Jersey Devils hockey team out of it. So, let me know what you think. Have you heard this myth before? Do you have something you'd like to add? Do you know a story or an article or a piece of information that I might have left out in this video? Please drop it below. Let me know. Let's discuss it. I'm curious as to your theories on what this thing could be. All right. Well, I hope you all stay safe and stay kind to one another. Until my next Spooky Story Sundays. Bye.